Good morning, everyone. It's Jazz. It's the West Ham Irons channel, and it's the West Ham Transfer Talk Show. I think this is number 3 we've done. So every sort of 3 days, we like to catch up with all the gossip, see what we need, what could be coming in, what we want, really. So first of all, good morning to my 3 esteemed guests, and I'm very proud and very happy to have a couple of people not really been on. So Frankie, first of all, good morning to you, sir. Very good friend of mine, and really great pleasure to welcome you on board. So how are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. And good morning to you too. And yeah, really enjoying your journey so far, mate. It's been a breath of fresh air to the online West Ham world. So yeah, really enjoying the channel so far.
And I just wanted to say before we carry on, Frankie might not know this, but Frankie's one of those people I look up to and want to learn from. I really like what Frankie sort of used to do a lot of, and hopefully will do a bit more going forward in terms of he's got his own channel. And also, you learn a few things from each other, don't you? And we all make mistakes. It's all a learning curve, really. And the main thing is, like you said, keep trying original content, like Frankie's always telling me, and rightly so, really. Brilliant. Steve is another good friend of mine. Steve, how you doing, mate?
Morning, boys. Morning. Yeah, not too bad. Thank you, mate.
Good. All nice and bright, all spring chicken, aren't you now? Well,
yeah, I've already been out this morning, freezing.
Good for you. And also we have a regular, Ginger Carroll, who's my partner in crime in these transfer talk shows. So Ginger, how you doing, son?
Yeah, not bad. Looking forward to this third episode. It'll be a good one.
Good. Yeah, basically, like you said in the previous formats, we're going to talk about transfers and things. But before we get started in the usual topics, Steve, I think there's something that's been on your chest recently.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I just want to know Frankie's and Curtis's and your opinion on this. Arsenal trying to get their game called off tomorrow at Spurs when they've only got one COVID case, and they're quoting the African Nations Cup. Now, they knew this was going to happen in January, and I just think, like, it's one rule for some clubs, one rule for others. We've had the COVID cases. We've had youngsters on the bench that ain't even played in the Premier. I just wanted to know your lads' opinions on it.
Yeah, I mean, Frankie, you can jump in, sir.
What a dangerous question to ask me for the first one on this show.
And Liverpool, Frank, they've been lying as well.
Well, to be fair, Arsenal are now the new Liverpool, aren't they? They are the new self-entitled victims of the Premier League. Arsenal are just driving me mad. Just everything about them, the way they behave, the way their fans behave, the way they behave online, the way that their club behaves now. Just all round, for what was a really... I admired Arsenal as a football club when they used to be at Highbury. I used to think they were a fantastic football club, fantastic players. And just as a whole, as a football club, I just looked up to Arsenal and just thought, what a fantastic football club they are. And they've lost their way completely. I just think just the way they are now and the result they had over us, and the fans go online and they seem to feel like they almost seem to feel like they deserve to be top 4. They feel like it's a given because they're Arsenal. Well, it's not a given. And there's nothing more I would love than to pit them and be above them at the table at the end of this year, because it would drive them absolutely insane. And I'd love to see it.
Again.
Absolutely agree.
Well, again. But for whatever reason, especially this year, it was almost like the year before they've already forgotten about that. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like that was a write-off for them. That's a thing of the past. And then this year, they just feel like that no matter what, they're going to be above us this year. And I'd love to just see us pip them into it. But the way they've behaved here, just the sheer arrogance that they feel like they could even ask for that game to be called off. That I just really struggle to get my head around. I guess the problem is when you set a precedent with other clubs and they've allowed other clubs to do it. And I said it the other day, Liverpool have kind of behaved the way they do on the pitch. On the pitch, they try and get every advantage they can possible. They love to fall over where they can. They do everything they can to play the game into their favour. And that's because they want to win so bad. And that I can't, while it's frustrating when you watch Liverpool, and for the game this year, when Trent went over where we scored the free kick, but Salah went over just outside the box. There weren't a touch on him, but he goes over, and that gets him back into the game.
I mean, another thing, Frank, sorry to interrupt you. Do you remember when Lanzini got banned for diving at Stoke?
Yeah.
Salah would never get banned for a dive. Never. No way would he ever get a ban.
Never. And Liverpool have gone out there and they've been able to get games delayed. And I looked at that and I thought, while everyone's frustrated about it and everyone's annoyed about it, and when it sort of come out that there were these false positives, they were saying, oh, but now Liverpool are going to get investigated. I said, no, they're not. They're Liverpool. They won't get investigated. There will be nothing that will happen. What they've done is played it into their advantage the best way that they can, whereas naive little West Ham have kind of just played every game that's been thrown at us. And we had that Norwich game chucked in there the other night in amongst, a really busy run of games that we've had. Why do we just always go, well, we'll take it? So, Arsenal, really frustrating. Don't get it. But I also think that we need to be able to push back at times and try and say, look, we may only be little West Ham, but we ain't having it. You've thrown in that Norwich game. We should have been out of pick when we want to play that Norwich game. They was the people that delayed it. They done that. That was up to them. Right, now we'll play it when we want to play it, not when you decide we should play it. So, I just think we need to be a bit more, aggressive at times and be a bit more stubborn with the Premier League. But then sanctions start coming our way and we get a few things go against us. So it's difficult. But Arsenal really frustrating right now.
Yeah, I think my views were Frank. Sorry, go ahead, Ginger. Go ahead.
Well, we've got a week or a week and a half off now, so there was no need to cram that Norwich game in. We could have just played one game a week and then still continued a bit of momentum going forward, playing football, playing a league game. Next week, we could have just had the Norwich game. So I don't know why they tried cramming everything in.
Have you got another set of headphones by any chance? Those ones a bit, I don't know. Have you got anything?
Is it a bit low, is it? A bit low in sound, is it?
Buzzing a bit like you're on the moon or something, don't know.
Also, with the game off, I see that Klopp ain't got his glasses no more. He went for laser treatment. So that's why the game was off.
No, I mean, what I was going to mention is I think in kind of December it would have been sensible to take 2 weeks off for everyone to regroup, because some clubs are at disadvantage, some are not. It's not their own fault. And Frankie, I felt that Antonio didn't play in that crucial Carling cup game against Spurs, mate. And if Harry Kane, if it was them, Tottenham would not have played that game, mate. They would have pulled out 3-4 other players. So I think we are being naive, and we're playing a Leeds team that haven't played in midweek. They've got a whole week rest, and it's just a joke, mate. And I can't see that game tomorrow going ahead. I can't see it, I think, because I think they're probably missing a few players in the African Nations Cup and things like that, really. So go on, Ginge, take it away, son.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really got much more to add from what Frankie said. I think he hit the nail on the head, really. The thing is, with Liverpool, with what they've done and how they've got away with it, teams are going to be more likely to try and do the same, thinking they can get away with it, especially if they're one of the big six teams. So obviously now everyone's noticing the main big six biasry within the Premier League at the minute, getting away with murders left, right and centre.
Yeah, that's true. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about transfers. So I just want to show you guys something on my other screen to share. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. So gentlemen, this is apparently the spend in going back sort of from the summer, really. So you can see Arsenal at the top, 120 million. So it's the end column that I'm interested in, which is your net balance in terms of, what have you actually really spent, accounting in what you sold as well. So we're in fifth place, apparently, £64 million spend. I mean, when I click into more details, Kurt Zuma, 31 million, Vlasic, 27 million, Alex Crow, loan fee of 4 million, Dawson, couple of million there, Areola, 1 million loan fee. And then 2.7 coming in for Anderson, really. So that's kind of where the figures are coming from. So looking at that, Frankie, I mean, how do you feel? I know a lot of fans still think we don't perhaps spend enough, but we're kind of in sixth place. So it doesn't look too bad if I just
I agree, but that it's a false reality, really, because we've spent too much money on players coming in, which we didn't see a return for. And that we can't continue to do that. We haven't got an unlimited balance like other clubs do in that top positions there that can afford to buy in Hilaire's, Anderson's, and then sell them for a pittance moving forward. That looks a lot different, and our transfer window looks a lot different if we'd recouped our money on those players. That's where our biggest downfall is.
It is, Frankie, you're absolutely correct. When you look at that income column, which is the third column after our name, 2.7 million coming in, and look at United, 30 million, Arsenal, 30 million, Tottenham. So we need to improve on that income column, isn't it, Steve? What do you reckon? Like 60 odd million spent. What are you hoping for in this window in terms of spending, mate?
You know what I'm going to say, didn't you? Just one word: striker, mate. It's got to happen. It's got to, because, like I said, Ben Rama's away. Imagine if Bowen and Antonio get injured as well now. Who's going up front? Who's going up front?
Yeah. I mean,
we wanted a striker for 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Any other positions? Obviously, that's your priority.
Maybe a loan for a centre half, just in case Zuma does come back and get injured again, with Oggy being out for the season. Maybe a centre half on loan.
Okay, so you're fine in terms of perhaps looking at we'll go into a bit later on, like a Lingard type attacking, or a left back perhaps.
Well, you know my opinions on Lingard, mate. It's like a boring soap opera now. I'm fed up talking about it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So Frankie, in terms of what we need, positions, what are you thinking? I know January is always tough to get a few people over the line. We're being told, what would you prioritise and to fix in this window if we can, mate?
Well, I think there's a few positions, like Steve just said there, that we've been waiting on for a few years now. One's obviously a striker, and one is that left back position. I know a lot of people don't concentrate on that left back position because they feel like we've got Cresswell, Masuaku, and potentially Longelo, exactly, who could play there and the player. But for me, it's just not good enough, and I just feel like we have to change our mentality a little bit of our expectations. I know, not a lot's changed in terms of revenue, and not a lot's changed in terms of financial stature. However, I guess it has a little bit with the new director coming in and coming on board, but he's concentrating on clearing the debt. I think that's his main priority, rather than actually spending. But David Moyes said last season that the priority for this season is to find those extra few points that make the difference between us being Europa League and Champions League. That's what he said he wanted to do. Well, now's your opportunity to do that. We get to this window. We know what we're struggling with. We know where we've got shortfalls, and that's where we need to bring in players that can help us achieve those extra few points that we were missing last year. And I do think that the left back position, while it may not be like the major priority, I think if you can bring someone in who can play centrally and to the left, and it isn't a massive investment, it makes sense. And there's a player that I kind of have in mind that we're linked with that, who I think may work out and could be a good option for that. But ultimately, striker is what we desperately need. The only other position that I'd maybe throw in there is that sort of central midfield position. I know it's not the priority right now because we've got Noble, and a lot of people will say Krul, but for whatever reason, Moyes clearly don't fancy Krul at all, because he can't get near the team. He can't even get come on or play a bit part. So he really don't fancy him for whatever reason. And you just can't rely on Rice and Souček for every single game. If we do kick on in Europe in the second half of this season, I just don't want us to be undone because we didn't make that acquisition in this window. So if you're saying to me, look, if you want to go and make a real statement right now, I do think that central/left back, the striker and the central midfielder, go and do them all, because we've got no better chance of trying to achieve a top 4 finish and being in the knockout stages in Europe. So let's go and have a go.
Yeah, a couple of things that have been concerning me this season. Again, I don't know why I'm slightly thinking more harsher this season. We're 4th in the table. It's especially watching games live, and I sit quite high up, so I can see players' movements, formations, and 2 players I want to highlight. Again, it's just my opinion, is Souček for me, and I know, Frankie, you had good explanation of why it's happening. I don't see any impact in terms of, for instance, first half Chelsea, I told my son, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to watch Souček. I'm not going to watch any other player. And what he was doing is he was running non-stop, but he wasn't actually doing anything in terms of interceptions, blocks, passes. No impact, even though, having said that, second half, he did manage to get an assist, really. So very different from last season. Antonio's positioning as a striker, what I've noticed now, I think Bowen is a striker now. Last game, Antonio spent it all on the wing, on the halfway line. Bowen was much more central, really. So I think, like you said, going back to Krell, why did we buy him? Centre mid, I look at people like Neves, Moutinho, I look at Ward-Prowse and thinking one of those three next to Rice in the middle, I'll be licking my lips, mate. So, Frankie, I mean, about those three things, you think, yeah, obviously I could be looking at a different angle, mate. I don't know what you think, yeah, analysing those players.
Yeah, I mean, Souček for me, he's playing a role that he doesn't enjoy playing. I just don't. He thrives on getting forward and getting into the box. He loves arriving late. He loves getting his head on things. He just really enjoys it. But mate, it's like, you just go back to, I remember my days playing football. You know, you always want to be in the action. You always want to get forward. It is really hard to just say, you know, to someone, just sit and enjoy doing the dirty work. So it takes a unique kind of character to do that. But, you know, Rice is clearly fighting for that role. Rice feels like he's, you know, the better man for that job. I'm not too sure at this moment in time. I do think Rice has got the potential to become a more attacking and box-to-box type of midfielder, but I just feel he is definitely the better CDM. He reads the game better than Souček. He makes more interceptions. He breaks play up a lot better than Souček does. You know, so for me, Rice is the better man to sit, and Souček, I think, is the better attacking player. We all said last year, Souček is a plus 10 goal a season player for us, and we've not had a midfielder who can score 10 plus goals a season for a very, very long time. So for me, I would rather see Souček being the man getting forward and Rice doing the sitting. However, if that's what it takes for us to keep Rice happy and keep him at the club at the moment, it's a very difficult thing to say, you know, don't do that and force Rice to do it, because we've got to keep him happy. So, it's a tough one.
Yeah, and Steve, following on from that, how have you felt? I mean, obviously, what we need in January obviously links into what you feel about a couple of the players this season. So someone like Antonio, Steve, I mean, obviously, stats-wise, he's fine at the beginning, but it's kind of a one goal in the last 10 or 11, I think. So how you felt about Antonio?
Same opinion as you, Jazz. He just drifts out. He drifts out on the wing too much. His positional play, you know, stuff like that. And like I said, what's his stats lately? Was it 2 goals in about 10? Is it?
Yeah, one in 10. But then he got so many at the beginning. Then it doesn't look so bad when you look overall the season, really. But what other fans don't see is how many he wastes. We create so much, mate. He'll get the odd one, but the other 4 or 5 that were so easy, and we will never find out about that in the stats. So
I mean, he went down against Norwich the other night, didn't he? At first, you thought it might have been a bad injury, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If he's only got to pick up an injury, and who we got to play up there? Nobody.
Yeah, and
we've got no backup. We've got no plan B.
Exactly. And
that's why he knows. That's why he knows Curtis. He's never going to get dropped either. He's got no competition. You know,
and this statement from Glenn, one of our viewers, Steve, what do you think? Moyes worries him, saying there's nothing available. Perhaps it's a way of keeping quiet everything. I don't know.
Is that where he gets the name Divering Day from? That's what they've been calling him.
Yeah, he does, and I mean, obviously, news broke at the beginning that the board were saying we still haven't got the list from him. We have asked him, and obviously 2 people have joined the scouting department now, so there really shouldn't be any excuses in terms of who our target should be.
I don't know what Frankie and Curtis' opinion is, but this Barbosa story, I just think it's a rumour. I don't even think we're in for him. I just think it's another thing made up by 2 Bob Sky Sports just to get viewers.
I think it smells like the old West Ham, like a Sullivan sort of signing where he's trying. So he's put out a ridiculous offer that does not interest Flamengo at all. They're not entertaining it at all. They've told us what they want. They've told us what they prefer. They've also told us they don't want to sell him. But if a big offer comes in that they can't really turn down, then they are looking to sell him. And the players even said that he only wants to go to England, to the Premier League. Make it out you will. But with Barbosa, I think we've just put that ridiculous offer in. So they
we tried.
Trying to say, and it's their way of saying, oh, well, we've tried, just like previous years that Sullivan's tried doing it.
I wonder
like Carlos Backer and stuff, Carlos Backer and people like that.
Yeah, deliberately lowballing offers, so because they know that they're not going to get him, and if they do, then it's a touch. But they know that it's such a ridiculous low offer that the club's not going to agree, and then they can say, well, we tried, but we couldn't get him, it wasn't available, or do you know what I mean? Just make up.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder who his agent is. I mean, when it comes to players in Brazil, everyone, it's usually that Kia Jaraption, isn't he? Who used to be linked with us. He's got Tevez on his books. I think Coutinho is one of his clients. He's based in the UK, but again, from what I'm reading, is Barbosa. He didn't quite succeed in Italy earlier on, and he's okay in Brazil. He's a bit moody, a bit like Neymar. We've been stung with Anderson in the past. I don't know if he just doesn't seem like a David Moyes player to me, really. So Frankie, I'm not sure. I don't know.
84 goals in 124 games, and then 29 goals in 43 last season alone. But it's the Brazilian league.
It speaks volumes, really, and it's really interesting. I like reading between the lines at times, and there was a recent Sky Sports interview where they come out and said that basically in this sort of transfer window, people don't come at, or not much becomes available until towards the end, which I don't really buy personally. I mean, you could argue that maybe clubs want to make sure that they bring in the players that they need before they then sell. So that would mean that later on other players do come available, but I don't really buy it. And then Sky Sports turned around and said, well, David Moyes chooses the players he wants now. And I was sitting there thinking, why would Sky Sports say that? It was almost like Sullivan's given them a script and gone, go and say that, and just to keep the fans chilled and just to pacify the fans. That's it. And it was for me, that was a Sullivan script. And everyone who says nowadays, Moyes is in charge of the signings now and so on, I'm not there yet. I'm not sold that that's actually the case.
Well, it's funny you say that, Frank, because he's been doing that for years with Jim White. And Jim White also has taken it onto TalkSport, where he's said little things, but not actually directly said it come from Sullivan. He just says someone from the club or someone close to him from the club. And we all know it's Sullivan because we all know they're mates. And he's been doing it for years. And it's just stupid. Just keep your mouth shut. Get the business done. If you can't get it done now, don't just lip service the fans. Because if it comes out that you was all wrong and the fans find out, you're going to cause more shit for yourself. Just play it cool. Be honest, be open, be transparent with the fans, and then you'll have a lot more respect, especially from myself.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's look at some players. Steve, let's just get it out the way at the beginning, mate. Lingard, tell me what you want. Do you want him on board? Not on board? What should we do?
I've never said I wanted him not to come. Obviously, he chose to stay at Man United to fight for his place last summer. All I'm saying is, if he doesn't come in this window, I won't even go back in for him next summer. Just forget him, move on. That's just my opinion now.
What do you think is happening with him? Will he come, or is he playing?
No idea, mate. Well, the only other thing is, I know he came on in the cup the other night, so he's cup tied. Unless the only thing is, Man United might let him come after the league game next Saturday. So
that's what I was.
But other than that, I wouldn't go back in for him in the summer. No.
Frankie's cup tied as well. What's your opinions on Lingard, mate? We can throw him away.
He's just not for me, mate. You don't fit in the culture of West Ham United right now. We've got this real, ultimate effort, 100%, all together, all giving everything on the pitch, and he isn't one of those type of players. And it only needs one bad apple to turn things. And I'm just concerned if he come in. He already had an issue with Ben Rama when he was here last time, and they didn't get on. I just don't think we need it round us, mate. While he showed more quality than anyone else in our squad while he was with us, and he was fantastic, and he was more positive, and he always tried to go forward and make things happen, which I really loved that part about him. He started so well, and then it sort of faded. And I'm just not sure he's the right character to come into our squad at the moment, really.
I think if I'm right, again, I could be wrong, his form did dwindle towards the end, didn't it?
He did.
If I remember, he peaked. I mean, he hit the ground running like, wow. I remember that Villa game and a couple of other games where he single-handedly, I would say, more or less helped us to win the game, really. But what we're going to do, we're going to look at some of the players I believe you guys like. So with Steve, I'm going to get a player up now on the window that I think you've been quite vocal
about. The one I keep mentioning all the time, you mean? I think I know you mean.
Yeah. I think you
Mr.
like
Cabral.
You like Arthur Cabral. So tell me what you know about him and what he can bring. And I mean, forget these prices on this website; they're not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ajeti came from the Swiss league, and we all know how crap he was. But and I know and it's not like another redknapp looking at Boogers videos, but like everyone else, I've looked on YouTube, I've looked at his record, and I just think he's worth a punt. For the price, I think he'd only be about 15, 20 million.
23, Brazilian, so you probably need like a permit for him. 65 goals in 106. Frankie, has this name sort of come up? No?
Can't say I know anything about him, unfortunately, mate. I really don't.
What about you, Ginge, my expert? We'll run your little expert.
I've heard of him. I've not seen him play or anything. I try and steer away from YouTube videos and little highlight videos because they tend to just show the best bits, and that's probably one bit of magic in 90 minutes per game. Do you know what I mean? So
it can't be any worse than Allah. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, what is everyone's view on Haller now anyway, before I move on to the next player? Steve, obviously he's settled in quite well, one of the Champions League's top goal scorers. For me, I've got no time for him.
Just didn't fit in with West Ham. He didn't fit in with the Premier League, like the fast-paced football of the Premier League with English football. And now he's gone to the Dutch league with Ajax playing Champions League. Good luck to him. Got no beef with him. Just good luck to him. It just didn't work out with West Ham.
Yeah. Frankie, Lloyd Kelly, take it away, son. Fill me in, run in, mate.
I think this is probably the most likely defender that we would potentially bring in. I think, the rumours are quite strong for him. I think there is genuine interest there. 23, so he's young, but he's not so young that he couldn't maybe come in and do a job. Been playing regularly this season for Bournemouth. He plays left back, but he also plays centre back. He's probably been more central this year than he has been left back. But early on in his career, he was much more of a left back than he was a centre back. Jumps really well for headers, even though he hasn't got that typical stock you'd expect for a centre back. He loves putting in a tackle. He's come from adversity. He was a foster child, all went through that fostering system. So he's got that drive and determination about him that he wanted to make something of himself, which I really think that shows a lot of character. So I like that. He's also quite humble. There was a video with him basically doing something with Range Rover, and they showed a vehicle that he just purchased. And while it was a very nice vehicle, when they asked him about all the flashy additions that he could have, he didn't want it. And the coach that was at the club he was at then, which was Bristol City, turned around to him and said, you just haven't got that flash element about you, which I like. He's a humble, hard-working, young central defender who can also play left back, which is exactly what we need. Someone who can fill both positions if we need them to.
Is he naturally left-footed?
Naturally left-footed. He's good on the ball as well. He loves playing out from the back. He never panics. Sometimes it makes you nervous. It reminds me of the Rio days when he used to sit on the ball and used to think, oh, what are you doing with it? But he'll skip past the player, cut past the player, Cruyff Turner player. Very, very comfortable and confident on the ball. And he's got a bit of bite to him as well. While he isn't, like I say, he looks almost a little bit too slim to play a centre-half position. He has got a bit of aggression about his play that he don't mind getting in there and making a bit of a harsh tackle or being a bit spiteful if he needs to be. So, yeah, I mean, it would be a gamble still. I still think the Premier League physicality may be his downfall, but I don't think it would be a big risk. I don't think it'd cost a lot of money. And the fact that he plays both of those positions, for me, it makes sense. So,
in terms of pace, Frankie, is he okay, you think?
Yeah, no, because he's quite nimble and because he's quite athletic and quite slim. He's got plenty of pace about him as well. So, again, he don't look that tall. He don't look physically that big. But, I mean, the amount of headers he wins, he's fantastic at winning headers, even against big strikers. Well, so,
on average, per game, he wins 3.1 aerial duels.
Yeah.
On average.
Which is good.
So, yeah, and like you say, with his passing out from the back, his comfortability taking it from the goalkeeper and trying to start a counter-attacking or just start possession play in general. He passes 71.3% per game and 83.5% completion rate at that conversion. So not bad stats. Averages about 4.9 clearances per game. So, yeah, he's definitely one that everyone's had an eye on.
How much do you think Bournemouth would be wanting for him?
23-year-old. I reckon they're
going to
have
English tax there as well.
Yeah, I reckon they're not stupid. They'll ask for the heavens and earth for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
25 mil plus.
Yeah, he scores goals now and again. 4 assists, 2 goals in 71 games.
How old is he?
23.
Good age. Yeah.
10 yellows in 71 games, so yellow card every 7 games. Okay, interesting. Not bad. So Ginge, you know a little bit about Lloyd, and you sounds good little prospect. And like Frankie said, if we don't get him in now and they get promoted, then we all know what the price will be.
He's more realistic. Do you know what I mean? He's the sort of, like Frankie was saying, he's the more realistic sort of target for that sort of area of the pitch that we need. We can see him reel off name after name after name. But if they don't fit the caliber of what we need, a natural left footer, a left-sided centre half / left back that can play on that left back side, which is a good addition, good little bonus to have. He seems like the more realistic one that we can go for and more affordable. So we know more about him. You don't have to do a lot of due diligence about him, like go and travel abroad to watch him. He's here in England playing. So yeah.
And I must admit, when I think in the centre-halves, I never think about what foot they are. But the more I chat with guys like yourselves, it's very important to get the right left and right-footed combination, isn't it?
Well, you think before Cresswell come back, which was a surprise. Glad he's back now. We had no natural left-footed player on the pitch. So you take like I think it was West Ham Online last time. You take away left-sided pitch angles because you've got all right-footed players playing on the left side. They're naturally opening out to their right side, receiving the ball, and when they're flicking it out to their right, side, they're not looking down the left, they're not looking down the wing, or they're not looking to go down that way. Whereas a natural left footer will open his body out to both ways because he's comfortable using his left foot. You know what I'm saying?
I see that with Johnson sometimes. Yeah, it's not, they have to stop and
that's it. And it's only natural. You can't blame him for that. You can try and teach it into him, but it's only natural.
Definitely. Give me a name then, Ginger. Someone you've been looking at since the last show, or perhaps we didn't have time to cover that, mate, and we'll get his details up.
Names keep popping up, like Kaleta Carr. He keeps popping up. Yusuf and Nesri keeps popping up like a bad smell.
Yeah, pick one you want to talk about. Yeah, just pick any of those, mate.
We'll start with Kaleta Carr, Marseille centre back.
Okay, mate. Always interested in Marseille players, aren't we?
He's a 25-year-old. He's got he's 33 league appearances. He's had 2 goals. 6'4" Croatian centre back. On average, it's 0.9 tackles, 1.3 interceptions, 3.9 clearances, and he wins about 2.5 aerial duels per game.
Bloody, look at the size of his neck. Bloody hell.
Rumored to be roughly 14 million, give or take.
Okay, so Croatian, same as Vlasic, 20 caps, 1 goal, centre back, 25. Okay, Marseille, 104 games, 4 goals, and then sort of RB Salzburg. Okay, and in terms of pace, strength, that kind of thing, you think he'll be? I mean, I don't even know if he's left-footed or right-footed. Any other plus points for him? Not that I've looked. No. Yeah, but you think he could come, because that's the thing in January. You can't let that whole month waste like we used to, putting in bids where they're just not going to be moved,
exactly. And this could, I mean, to me, this stinks more of a rumor, just like a speculation, paper talk and stuff like that. I don't think the club might go and look at him. Granted, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's someone that we're going to likely get in, especially not in January. I think a lot of players that we're hearing about is for summer. Moyes is saying, "Oh, I'm looking to get him in the summer." Or,
But even in the summer, Frankie, you'll agree, our business was a bit up and down, mate. We wasted a lot of time, and Vlasic's name just came out of nowhere. And then
people don't like this opinion, but I think that was probably one of the worst signings in recent times. Not because of how good he is as a player, but just being somebody we really didn't need when we was desperate for a striker. We didn't need that type of player. We needed another striker. We needed someone to, especially when we knew how many games we had coming up, and we've actually tried to compete in every competition. I've been quite surprised, but we tried to compete in the League Cup. I thought we'd throw that. So we've tried to compete in it all with one recognisable striker. It's just, I just wish we'd have signed a forward instead of Vlasic, really. But long term, hopefully he works out and everything will be good with it.
And do you know anything about Kletekar? Oh, I don't.
No, not really. Not really. I do keep an eye on Marseille every now and then because obviously I Payet and the link there. So I do watch a few of the games from time to time. It's a name that's always thrown out there, and he's always linked to the Premier League. So there's obviously reasoning for that. It's not just with our club. A lot of clubs are always linked with him. But just not someone who's necessarily stood out for me at any time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Steve, I'm assuming you don't know too much about him, do you, mate?
No, the only thing I'm going to say as well, as long as we don't end up on the last day of the transfer window with like some old has-been coming to the end of their career, another old, like the old West Ham way, we want to get away from that. You know what I mean? Someone 32, 33 on a loan. Want to steer clear from them kind of deals.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny Frankie mentioned about Kletekar. Vlasic being a last-minute signing and being one of the worst because of in terms of what we needed. Because we've said it before, Jazz. Him and Krau was a last-minute panic buy.
Paper in the cracks, Curtis, that was.
What's that, sorry?
That was papering in the cracks over a bad summer transfer window. That's what that was.
Exactly. And that's why they panicked even more. They realised that the players that they wanted was out of their realm, realistically, because of one reason or another, whether they weren't able to put up the funds or weren't willing to put up the funds. But yeah, that Vlasic and Krau was a stinker of a move.
But listen, half happened a lot. This happened with Haller. He was probably our 5th choice striker that we panicked with to bring him in at the end, and that's why Haller didn't work out, because it wasn't the right. We're actually trying to go into a bit of detail. What footed is the player? Is it right for the system? Is it right for the style that West Ham play? We seem to just get to the end, and this whole opinion of players come available late. If you jump in late and you do that panic buy, you end up bringing in people that just don't fit the club. And we do it so often, and that's why we end up devaluing them and not being able to get any money back on them because they don't look like a good player anymore. So we've got to stop that and start to try and get a bit more plan with what we're doing.
I think a lot of funny things are happening in that window. I think we obviously got close to getting Milenkovic. Perhaps Zuma became more and more interested in joining us, so we switched. But then why didn't he join Spurs and Milenkovic? I don't know. He's one of those. The more I watch him, I know it's YouTube, the more I like Milenkovic. He's no nonsense. He'll go down well with the fans. And obviously, I think Lingard wasted the club's time throughout the month, I think. And I mean, the whole month nearly went, and 4 days to go, David Moyes goes, I'm going to have a sit-down chat with Lingard about really what he wants. 4 days to go till the end? And it's after that, isn't it, everyone, when Vlasic came in? And we're just running after the wrong people in the hope that they'll change their mind in the last hour, last day. And it was
probably hoping to get Lingard on the last day on the transfer deadline, like he did in January.
And it's clubs like Villa, Newcastle now, they are overpaying, but then they're getting the deals done quick. You got to pay 10, 15% more.
But the thing is, they're 2 teams that are willing just to go, you know what, here's 20 mil, here's 25, 30 mil, here's 35 mil. Do you know what I mean? They're willing just to go, there's a big lump sum. Where West Ham have always been like, oh, you want 25 minutes? We don't rate him at 25. We rate him in roughly about 18, but we'll start off at 15. Because they want to look for a bargain. They're penny pinchers. So they start off low and then they try and gradually get their way in until they can get to an agreement. But before it even gets that far, the other club gets so pissed off. They're like, do you know what? You just jog on because you're taking the piss out of us.
I think the mix isn't good, is it? When you've got a manager who, probably rightly so, has got a strict small list of players that he wants, and then you got the board who not really going to get them in for him, and then he ain't going to give him any replacement names, and he can end up with no one really. So it's that kind of thing, really. Okay, so Andre Baleti, I think Steve, you probably know a little bit about him in the Euros.
Yeah. He's a good player. I've heard the reports the last couple of days, but some of the reports are saying in the summer Need it now, mate. Not the summer.
Yeah,
not the summer.
But another thing worrying me, everyone, is obviously whenever we are linked with someone, then Tottenham, Newcastle, Villa, they all jump in there. And this guy being Italian, I'm immediately thinking of Conte saying, because what they'll do, when a club gets close to signing him, that alerts other clubs saying, yeah, there's a chance, and they'll come in. So I know Spurs are always looking to improve. So for me, Frankie Baleti, I can't see it happening. But again, contract ends in June, and we like paying a little low for players like that. He's 28. He actually was only 28 in December, so not 29 till next December. Great stats, mate. 1 goal in 2, even at international level, nearly. Really, really good. Yeah.
I mean, he's the perfect. If you want a striker to come in and kick you on in that second half of the knockout phase of the Europa League, he's your sort of guy that can do that for you. So, he's a great fit for what we need right now. But like you say, can it get over the line? Not so sure. So,
yeah, because it's going to be his last move, isn't it? 28. So he's going to look for a nice little signing on package and things like that. Sorry, Ginger, you about to say something, mate?
Is he? How old is he? 28.
28 in December, gone. So yeah,
30. I was going to say, I think he will go somewhere like the MLS.
Yeah, perhaps
in the summer, not now, but in the summer, I think he's looking for that sort of move, and I think he will go to the MLS. I mean, I said it in one of the other transfer shows, and that's why I just can't see it happening with West Ham, regardless of what they offer him. But whether that's terms of offering Torino a transfer sum or offering the player, I just think that he would probably decline and want to go. If he can get a move to the MLS, he will. He's looking for that big payout just to settle down and just finish his career, really.
And also
his family.
Yeah, and the next few names that do come in, then obviously there's a point to be proved by the new people who are the scouts now, isn't it? Rob Newman and I think the other fella who's also got background of Norwich, and then hopefully they do a good job, really. The other thing I was going to mention to everyone was I really love buying players from the Championship, I think, rather than keep looking abroad. I think those players, obviously one of them was Frankie's first one we spoke about again. Yeah, easy to settle. It's tough down there, in the lower leagues. And a lot of good players down there. What I hate is we don't actually touch them until they go up and then the price is tripled. I mean, people like Tony, people like that, really.
We wait until it's too late, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants him, and then all of a sudden we're in a bidding war that we can no longer compete with.
Yeah. I mean, before I go on to perhaps ask Frankie about any other players, Frankie, Tony at Brentford, you like what you've seen so far this season?
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Do you know that whole thing about the Championship and so? I think there's nothing wrong with looking at one player per year that you may want to go and take a chance on. I certainly wouldn't want to see us build a squad around Championship players. And I think we need to, the expectations of West Ham in these transfer windows has to change a bit, and the board need to change their mentality around it as well, because we're not this relegation battle in West Ham no more. We're trying to kick on and become that next level club that we was always promised and what West Ham need to be now. We're sitting there in fourth, halfway through the year, or gone halfway now. If you want to go and show that ambition of trying to become that top 4 side, which would be a massive, massive achievement, you need to try and up your game a little bit. And that's what I think we've got to do. So I have got someone in mind that I think is a perfect fit, but we'll go through that when you're ready.
Yeah, we're ready now, mate. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm intrigued to find out.
I think the no-brainer is Patrick Schick of Bayer Leverkusen.
I love him. I love him.
Last time, didn't I?
Yeah, I love this
man.
Yeah.
He's under the same agent as Souček, so it's easy business because they're the same agent. A cultural fit. I don't want to become the new Wolverhampton Wanderers / Portugal, being West Ham United / the Czech Republic. I don't want to be that, but you look at Man United at the moment, they've got these different culture groups where people sit, like when you used to go to a youth club when you was younger, you used to have like the girls over there, the boys over there, the other people over there. You kind of get that sort of. So again, we just spoke about Baleti. I know we've got Ogbonna in there at the moment who, he may have some sort of, I don't know, relationship with. But what you don't want is these little pockets of different groups of people, and then you end up with a fragmented squad. I don't think it would hurt. You know, he knows how to. He's familiar with our players already. I think he'd be out of our price range. I think his goal scoring record this season has been nothing short of phenomenal. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's big, he's strong, he can hold the ball up. He can play as a central forward, or he can play as a second striker. He can play out on the left, or he has played out on the left in his career. For me, it just makes perfect sense. But I just think he's probably just out of reach for us. But he shouldn't be. That's my point. If we want to be this next level club that we're saying we want to be, that's the guy you got to go and get, and you got to break the bank to go and make that happen.
Well, 18 goals in 15 games is nothing short of remarkable.
Yeah,
I think coming on the back of what Frankie's saying, if your budget is 60 million, I would rather bring a big one into a window rather than spreading it, because I think the squad has shown it's not ideal, but it can cope with low numbers. So like you said, Frankie, if our budget is 50 million, let's get one person in at 50 million, isn't it? Rather than 225s, because like you said, top 4, top 5, top 7, top 8, different levels.
One player, though. Because if you need a multiple players and you go out and spend all or majority of your transfer budget on one player, big signing, then you're gonna say 40 million you spend out of 50 for a striker that you need, but you also need a centre back or a left back. Then that only allows you 10 million to get a half decent centre back. And nowadays you're not going to get a half decent centre back unless they're on the way out of their career, or they've got problems like they're injury prone, or you know what I mean, or the club don't want them because they've got a bad attitude.
Yeah, I think like Frankie said, if we hadn't put 25, 27 for Vlasic, you would have that in the bank, and coming into this month you add another 20, and then you're getting near, aren't you, Frankie? 40, 45. Yeah. With add-ons and things.
And E20's own TV there is put, but this is West Ham. That's got to stop. That mentality. That's got to change. And you know, I know we sing West Ham is massive, and it's a little bit of tongue in cheek, but it's not. It's reality. We are massive. We are a huge club. We got a huge fan base. We get huge attendances. We are a big football club, and we've got to start behaving like one rather than scratching around and trying to do these budget deals and trying to look for bargains. I think we've got to up our game a little bit and change that mentality.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, lads? You know what the biggest fear in all this is? You imagine if we don't get anybody in at all in this window, and the season peters out from being fourth, we end up like 8th or 9th. They've got to expect a great big fan backlash if this happens.
100%.
Them owners, and they deserve a big backlash from us lot if we end up 8th or 9th and they've done no investment in this window whatsoever.
100%.
That's just my opinion.
The whole club, other than the players and the backroom staff, should, because
we need to be careful.
100%. For the first time in years, we're in a great position in European competition and the league to go and make a big statement. Possibly go and be in a final of a European competition. For the first time in this competition anyway.
And we need to this season can peter out into nothing very quickly. We went out of the League Cup. You can end up going out the FA Cup. You could go out in the knockouts of the Europa League quite quickly, and you can end up 7th. And then you're looking back thinking, what happened there? Like, we had this massive... It's still not a bad season, don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying the fact we're not looking over our shoulder, and I'm enjoying the ride that we're on. But, you know, you can see it all unraveling fairly quickly if we don't, like you say, you got to try and keep always moving forward. As soon as you're standing still, you're going backwards, and I don't want us to do that. But he said it. You know, GSB, this won't change at all. I get that, and I understand that, but it's difficult. Everyone knows my opinion on GSB and how much that, you know, I feel what they've done and the things they've done in the past is unforgivable. But they said 5 years European football. Well, at the moment, we've got exactly what they said they was going to give us on that basis. So, but it's now is the big time for them to turn around and go, now we're going to show you what we said we was going to do is a reality. And I'm still sitting here waiting. So let's see, shall we?
Yeah, I think, like you said, behave like a top team. We don't behave like that, Frankie, because when we're playing, one of the things is we don't go down when we're actually being fouled like the other teams do, and we don't get free kicks. They do. Perhaps we should have got 1 or 2 games called off.
Honest.
Especially, we are too honest. And I think I mentioned to Frankie, I mean, until Lingard signed, you remember we didn't get any penalties. We're one of the teams who had the fewest penalties, and then he came and we won so many straight away. Just be more streetwise, more cunning. And that is the difference. And when you look at the league table, everyone, like, what did we miss Champions League out by? 2 points, was it, to Chelsea? Something like that?
Yeah.
And if we were a bit more, and then again, it goes back to the squad. I mean, the highlight, Frankie is saying, is when we beat Liverpool, God, the table looked comfortable. And then we allowed Arsenal to catch up with us by drawing Brighton, losing Southampton 1-2. Games that were easily winnable if we just had another striker on the bench, And
you think at the start of the season, like the likes of the Bournemouth game and the Man United game, we were the better team, and then in the Bournemouth game, Brentford, we lost in the 90th minute, and then we lost points in the Man United game late on as well. So that them sort of games, we just need to shore out and make sure we get the 3 points. Get it done and dusted.
I mean, Arsenal
late on in the game, thinking we've already run it, getting complacent, and then we're allowing teams to come back, and then before we know it, we haven't got any points.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal lost their first 3, I think, and I believe if we're a bit more cunning, a bit more better on the bench, we could have been. I think we would have been in 4th place, which we are, but a bit more gap, at least a 4-point gap over 5th,
A bit more stable, And we've got United coming up soon, and that's going to be a big game.
Yeah.
Anything but a loss, I think I would be happy with at this moment in time. As long as we don't lose, I think a point would be a good result. Would be a good point as long as we carry on pushing on. Obviously, ideally, 3 points just to gain that extra 3 points clear of them would be ideal. But I'd be happy right now to take anything but a loss.
Yeah, Ginger, these players, James is mentioning in the comments. Do you know anything about them, mate? Keane, Lewis,
Brennan
Potter.
Johnson, I've heard of. Lewis Potter, I haven't. I don't know much about Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Was it saying something, mate?
No, I was saying Johnson. I've seen a bit of him. He's a good player, that Johnson at Forest.
Yeah,
he's a good player. Yeah,
Steve,
I haven't seen Potter all that much, but I've seen Johnson a few times.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, before we just move on to another quick player, is Patrick Schick. I think what I like about him, okay, at Roma, looks like not so many goals, but then what I look for is an international player, 17 goals in 33 caps. That shows you the level that you're at, because we all know how hard it is to score at international level. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, the website's saying he's in a contract until 2025. So we'll see. So Steve, any next player, if you've got one in mind, we can get his details on, mate.
Who's this? Is it Dalio? We're after Dalio. Is he Monaco? Is it? Is it Monaco?
Let's have a look.
Abu Diallo, PSG.
That's him. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the Senegal international. He's a left-footed centre back and can play left back.
Is it Monaco? Is it Monaco?
No, PSG.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one, mate.
Yeah. The Senegal international. Yeah, he's 6'2" as well, centre back. 25 years old. He signed for PSG.
What's his name again?
Abu Diallo. At the bottom there, number 22.
Okay, cheers, mate.
So,
we looked at him, didn't we? Yeah.
PSG bought him from Dortmund in 2019, I think, for about between 25 and 30 million, something like that. Yeah, he's only 25. He's decent.
Yeah, Frankie, any comments on him, mate?
Not particularly, no. Always going to be difficult. Somebody like that, the wages that he's going to be on, it's always going to be a tough one to pull him out of there. And don't know too much to comment, to be perfectly honest.
And what about this man, Fabio Carvalho at Fulham, who's apparently linked with Liverpool, one for the future. England under 18.
Also, Jazz, we're linked with the other fella from Fulham as well, aren't we? Robinson,
okay.
I can't remember his first name. I know he's at Fulham. Robinson. I had that mentioned yesterday.
Okay, I'll put your details up. Ginger, any comments on Fabio Carvalho?
None at all, mate, to be honest.
He's very lightweight. It would be 19 years of age. He's still got to mature and so on. He is skillful. He's an attacking midfielder. I'm not sure we need But this is the point, isn't it, as well? You know, we don't need an attacking midfielder right now, but I would like to see us bring in players like him ready for the future. Be a bit more planned. Make sure we've got these players who can progress and come through. And but you couldn't go and blow your budget on him, that's for sure.
So that Kamara's been reported this morning as well.
Kamara, yeah, I've got him down on my list.
Yeah, Ginger, you want to speak a little bit about him, mate?
Yeah, no, he's decent. I think I mentioned him once briefly on one of the other transfer shows, and his name is another name that keeps cropping up more and more. Even sites like Sky Sports that they're mentioning him, and that we're offering. Apparently, we're going to go for talks, but believe what you will.
His contract ends this summer, mate. Interesting enough. There we go.
Yeah, and he's another player that Moyes has turned around and said one for the summer. But this little phrase is pissing me off because we need players now.
It's all the summer.
Yeah, it's always it's this summer. No, we need players now. We're in a good position. It's like the latter years where we've been in a relegation scrap. It's like our managers then saying, "Oh, we'll get this player in the summer." Well, that's no good because we might be in the Championship. Now we're in a position where we can go far in Europe and go to the bigger prestige European competition, in the Champions League. But in order to do that, we need to bring these bodies in now, this month. We can't wait.
Jazz, do you remember the conversation me and you had last night about in the days when Cotty left and we was trying to get Kerry Dixon, Mick Arthur and all those blokes? Do you remember?
Yeah, and then Alan Dickens had to play up front, and we took a long time to replace Cotty McAvenny. And like Frankie said, when you're there or thereabouts in history, we never had, and then we come tumbling down. You know, we remember the Iceland, we remember why we brought Tevez in, and the previous cup sort of final team just broke up. And yeah, this is the point where we really need to be ambitious, think big, and add. And it's that window for me. I think Zuma kind of rescued the window. If Zuma didn't come in, oh my God, it looks dreadful, the business with, 2-3 other people that came through the door. And it wasn't very good. Okay, what we're going to do now is it's coming up to the hour, so I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you guys being Saturday and families and things. So what I'll do, I'll go around and you can discuss any point you want off your chest. Starting with Steve, mate. Anything you want to talk about?
No, I just want, what's your boys' predictions first of all for tomorrow?
I haven't asked him because I don't know myself, mate. But
I'm going to go 3-1 anyway. 3-1.
Yeah, a few people are a bit up and down because I think they're expecting Bamford, Rafinha to start and one more guy back. Typical West Ham. I think they might get.
Yeah, but they're still poor. Even with them two, Jazz, they're still a poor side.
Yeah, but like I told Frankie, they've had a whole week off and they took 2 weeks off in December as well, Leeds. So, but somehow our fitness wasn't not too bad. We just
During the outside chance Zuma might be on the bench.
I wouldn't even risk him. What's the point?
Wait till Man United next week, innit?
We've done that before in the past with players. We've rushed them back and then they've looked all right in the first game, but the next game or the third game back, they've gone out and it's a bigger injury, and then they're out for longer. And what's the point?
I mean, have a look at the training ground footage when Zuma comes back. It's quite funny with Masuaku playing games with him and all the players that are fond of him, really. Yeah, it's quite funny.
I see the video of when he was back on the training ground and all the players come out and David Moyes was like in a sweet shop.
That would have been good though. Do you know what would have been good to see come on at least have a little cameo role in the last few games? That Oka Flex.
Yeah.
Should have tried him out. Should have let him at least have a few minutes.
We'll see. Yeah. Frankie, any point you want to discuss, mate, before we close up?
I don't think so, mate. No.
Anything on your mind? Yeah. I mean, like you said, we discussed them. We're at a reasonably good place, mate, and just don't make it a West Ham thing that we let it go. And then, I
think, tomorrow's so important. We spoke about the Man United game and wanting to get something from there. And I think you'd respect the point at Man United, although if you want to be this top four side, it is a must-win game. But if you want top four, these next two games, that you do have to win them both. I think that's just, if we want it, then and it's going to be I don't know. I think that these next 2 games are critical to set up our season to see how it's going to sort of end for us. And tomorrow, while it's going to be a really tough game and Leeds are going to come there and they're really going to be, they're going to try and run and they're going to work really hard, you kind of have got to be that class above them. And we've got to show why we're in the top 4 and they're not. And you've got to try and win comfortably, just like we did on Wednesday night. And then go into Old Trafford, they're still in turmoil, they're still not playing well, they're still out of sorts. We've got to go there and we've got to get in their faces and we've got to try and go and win that game. And you would normally say respect the point, especially at Old Trafford. It would be a big point to sort of add. But I don't know, I just want to see us go for it. I almost remember last season, we got to this sort of time and I wanted to see us really try and kick on and try and go for
it. We reserved ourselves.
And we never did. We held back and we still didn't make it in the end. So I think this season we've just got to go for it, and I hope we go for it in the transfer window. But we're going to see over these next few weeks what the ambition of our board actually is. They're never going to tell us what their ambitions are for the football club. They're never going to disclose that information. But I think we're going to know whether they are pushing to try and become this next level West Ham, or whether they're happy that we're already safe and secure. There's not really any glaringly obvious issues at the moment. We're going to end up in the top 7 regardless of what happens from now until the end of the season. So they might sit there and just think, well, that'll do us. And I hope that's not the case, but you just don't know with them, do you? So, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, before we move to Ginge, I think you're absolutely right. And when you see Villa, Newcastle, Arsenal spending, you can't rest on your laurels, really. So, Ginger, anything on your mind you want to get out of the way with us before we close the show, mate?
No, not really. But just going on what Frankie said there, I'm making right there, mate. To be honest,
you're going tomorrow, mate. You going tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going tomorrow. No.
Okay, cool. Frankie's going. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure when my next game is. I'll let you know though. I'll meet up with you for a beer.
Yeah, no problem on that.
Well,
really.
You like the rum, didn't you? So we'll go to the Spirit Bar.
I got worried last time. I think you were with me. I couldn't find it, Frankie, where it was. We got there really early.
We were
messing about near the statues.
It was here last week. I'm sure it was. And it was further down. He was happy. As soon as he had that rum in his hand, though, he was happy.
He was happy. That's important.
Anyway, thank you, each one of you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, Ginge. And really really thank you for giving your valuable Saturday morning to me, and get back to your mad children and mum and dads and whatever and that kind of thing, really. So, have a great weekend, everyone. And maybe next week might be a signing. You never know.
You never know.
Fingers crossed.
Well, do you know what, Jazz? We've got to win next week at Old Trafford because next Saturday's my birthday, mate. So we will win.
That's a must.
Don't worry, we'll do something special, mate. Yeah, we'll do something special for that. Yeah, definitely. Great. Thanks, chap.
Just send the crate of lager through the post, Jazz. That'll do me for my birthday, all right? That'll do, mate.
Oh, don't worry, I'll do something for you, mate. Anyway, thanks, everyone. Come on, you irons.
See you later, fellas.
Signings in. Take care.
Yeah, mate.